Oh, hello there. I didn't see you through the tinted windows of my Porsche 911 GT3. I was just on my way back to my mega mansion after my week-long yacht trip to my fourth house in Milan. 6'5", by the way. What do I do for work, you ask? Well, when I'm not donating millions to charity or building wells for African white rhinos, I like to play a little game called Slay the Spire. Great game. My only issue is that there's no way for me to flex my immeasurable wealth on all the pores. Sure, it's nice to see the looters blush when they see my old coin, but money means nothing to me. No, I need some way to play Slay the Spire the same way I live my life, with an unabashed disregard for resource consumption and a bottomless desire to extract as much wealth from the middle class as possible. So that's the plan for today's video. I'm going to be surrounding myself with only the upper echelon of Slay the Spire cards. Get those dirty 0 and 1 cost cards out of my sight. Nah, it's only 2+ energy cards today. Some quick rules for clarification on the challenge. Rule number 1, I'm not allowed to play any card that costs less than 2 energy. X cost cards are allowed, but only if they will be played for 2 energy or more. Rule number 2, cards created or played by potions are allowed, so stuff like Distilled Chaos can be used even if it plays a 1 or 0 cost card. Rule number 3, have fun. Or, I don't know, there's probably more rules, but I'm too affluent to care. For character choice, it was between the Ironclad and the Watcher, as they're the only ones that even have 2 cost cards in their starting deck. Now, an intellectual might approach this problem by counting the number of 2+ cost cards in each color and choosing a character based on the statistical likelihood that a high energy card would show up in any given combat reward, but math is cringe and the Watcher sucks, so you're up, Ironclad. Like some of my other challenge videos, Act 1 is where most runs go to die for this challenge. Out of my 10 starting cards, I can play 1, Bash. This meaning that to get a good run going, something like Astrolabe is awesome. After trading in Burning Blood, I transformed 3 useless 1-cost defends into an extremely lucky Bludgeon and Perfect Strike. Oh, also Brutality, but hey, I'll take what I can get. With my high energy cost card count tripled, the first few combats were a breeze. Bludgeon, with its 42 damage, pretty much eviscerates most of the Act 1 common enemies. Pair that with the vulnerability from Bash, and not even the Gremlin knob can stand in my way. Card reward number 1 gave me yet another Perfect Strike, and then after caving in the Jawworm's skull, I picked up the Golden Idol and an injury from my first event space. Modeling this run after my own life, starting to invest early is the fastest way to grow your net worth. That's why I made sure to invest in Nvidia when I was 2 years old. I've just got that dog in me. The Ironclad, with a similar grind set, will need a lot of gold to remove all the low-cost cards from the deck. Big Fish was up next, where I picked up the Shovel and a second Curse Regret. I know I say a lot of relics are my favorite relic, but the Shovel is genuinely one of my top 5. Energy relics are pivotal for this run's success, so the more chances I have at picking one up, the better. With 2 curses in my deck, the difficulty of this challenge started to show in my bout with the slimes. I was only 5 rooms into the first act, and I was already on almost half health. Having traded Burning Blood for Astrolabe, damage negation was going to give me some trouble. The Ironclad only has 2 block cards that meet the 2+ energy restriction. It doesn't matter how much damage I can dish out if I can't even block the fat gremlin's 4 damage. Luckily, my very next card reward was Reaper, which would be my only source of damage negation for the foreseeable future. At the rest site, I put the Shovel to good use, digging up bronze scales. Still a great relic, but not as busted as normal for this specific challenge. The surprise shop allowed me to remove Regret, and then a second excavation session procured White Beast statue. With my relic count growing, I picked up Centennial Puzzle for my Act 1 chest, giving me some much needed draw on a deck where only 50% of the cards were actually useful. Bludgeon and Perfect Strike made quick work of the Fungi Beasts, and the already insane run just kept getting better with yet another Perfect Strike as my card reward. The 3 louses in the next room whittled my health slightly lower before dropping the first 2-cost card I actually skipped, Juggernaut, as its block for attack mechanic just wouldn't really work with my deck. The rest of Act 1 was pretty uneventful with 3 boring combats that I'm just going to turn into a quick montage. Oh Jesus, what the hell? That was way too fast. God, remind me to never ask for a montage again. Well, my Health on 32 and my Act 1 boss being the dreaded Hexaghost, I thought it smart to dig one final time rather than fueling the boss's divider attack. A sick twist of fate gave me the Pantograph, which more or less nullified my low HP strategy. Okay, boss time. The great thing about this challenge is that it really just boils down to Ooga Booga. Identify the highest damage card in your hand on any given turn unless you know you'll draw Bludgeon on the next turn, in which case you'll play Bash because the vulnerability deals an additional 21 damage, which in addition to the 8 damage from Bash, which is actually just worse than having played upgraded Perfect Strike for 30, so this bit is actually just pointless. Oh, sick. And then I didn't even draw Bludgeon. Well, anyways, my bronze scales were putting in work, and with Bludgeon dealing a sixth of the Hexaghost's health, yeah, I bet you liked that, you dirty little... It wasn't long before I sent the ghost back to the Shadow Realm. That is, of course, after using every single potion I had. There was just something so freeing about using an explosive potion on a single enemy. Chaotic Evil, or something like that. My card reward gave me a genuinely tough choice. I had to decide between Impervious, which gave me some much-needed block, but only once, or Demon Form, which provides me the scaling I need to take on the high-health monsters in Acts 2 and 3. I ended up picking Demon Form as it not only provided me with the aforementioned scaling, it would also pimp out my Reaper, meaning that I'd theoretically be able to heal all 80 health back, assuming the combats lasted 38 turns. I was disappointed, to say the least, when it came to the boss relic selection, however. Because most of my playable cards cost 2 energy, something like Velvet Choker would have been awesome. With 4 energy, I'd be able to play 2 cards per turn without ever getting close to the 6-card max. Alas, my selection included Runic Cube, which gave me some semi-useful draw, Philosopher's Stone, which made the enemy's already unblockable attacks even stronger, and Ectoplasm, which is just straight up one of my least favorite relics. After some consideration, I set my biases aside and ended up taking Ectoplasm, as I had already amassed 350 gold. With the shovel, I wasn't really hurting for relics, and I only had 3 more useless cards in my deck, Defend, Injury, and Brutality, that I wanted to remove. The plan now was to, instead of spending my wealth to stabilize the economy, I would instead hoard it. Maybe I could get a line of credit against it and buy a social media platform. I digress. Act 2. I was immediately jumped by some robbers that were yelling something about fair wages and corporate greed. I put them in their place with a bludgeon and a perfect strike. In my first Act 2 event space, I decided to spend some of my immense wealth to remove the only curse still remaining in my deck, Injury. Event space 2 put me in the library, where I picked up perfect strike number 4. My hopes of an energy relic were dashed yet again in the surprise chest room, where I grabbed the genuinely useless ornamental fan. I then made quick work of the shelled parasite and snake plant, not without taking some damage, however, bringing my health down to a dangerously low 19 HP. Knowing there wasn't much use for shops, I decided to head towards a campfire, where I rested for the first time in the run. After my power nap, I was accosted yet again by some hoodlums who wanted to eat the rich. I showed them what a true union buster looks like and picked up the red mask for my trouble. Another useless chest gave me another useless relic, Oddly Smooth Stone, boosting my unused dexterity. A cultist and a chosen were waiting for me in the next room, and after tossing me around a little, brought me down to 12 health. Act 2 was not holding any punches, and at the next campfire I had to rest for a second time, even though my heart yearned for the mines. Snecko greeted me with the introduction of an additional rule. 0 and 1 cost cards that have their energy usage modified can be played if their cost is 2+ after the modification. The same goes for 2 and 3 cost cards being converted into 0 or 1 cost cards. If the card says 0 or 1, regardless of what it said before, I'm not allowed to play it. With that in mind, I kinda got owned, with only a few of my cards being playable. I made it out, slightly battered and bruised, forcing me to rest at the campfire yet again. The snake plant was back for round 2, and was vanquished by my bronze scales. Finally, for the first time in Act 2, I was able to break ground, and was rewarded with a max HP bump thanks to Mango. Okay, boss time number 2. Pantograph healed me to nearly full, and using Elixir, I exhausted Brutality and 1 strike. Why did I exhaust a strike when I had 4 perfect strikes in my deck, all of which rely on having as many strike cards in my deck as possible? I don't know, man. I'm not a machine. If I were, I'd be playing the defect. Sorry. The battle was hard fought, with my only source of healing being Reaper. I ended up having to use it pretty early to maximize its effect on the minions summoned by the Collector. That means when he started dishing out 27 damage, there wasn't much I could do to stop him. He took me down to a mere 8 HP before a lucky draw allowed me to take him out with 2 perfect strikes on his vulnerable body. Okay, no, not like that. Vulnerable in the sense that... whatever. My card reward was Reaper number 2, and with only 2 useless cards left in my deck, Empty Cage was the perfect relic. Entering Act 3, I was feeling pretty good. My goal before the boss was to hit as many rest sites as possible to try and grab some energy relics. The path I chose pointed me towards the Darklings, who stood no chance against my... Oh, dang. Jeez, man, they did 30 damage to me? Ouch. Well, 61 HP was still plenty to take on the pair of Orb Walkers for a chance at an energy relic. Oh my gosh, they did 37? Well, maybe I'll get a good relic? Bird-faced Urn. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome, actually. Now I can heal 2 HP when I play my single power card. Well, garbage relic aside, I also grabbed Whirlwind, which was actually a card I'd been looking for basically the entire run. Up until this point, I had luckily avoided most of the encounters where you run into like 50 little tiny guys who all do 4 damage. Now with Whirlwind in my deck, I actually have something I could use to deal with them. I was lucky to find the Moya head in my next event space, where I sacrificed some max HP to heal to full. 24 HP just wasn't gonna cut it. Mind Bloom was next, and I was actually really bummed that I couldn't take the 999 gold for 2 normality, as the deck I was running wouldn't really be affected by the curses at all. Thanks a lot, Ectoplasm. Instead, I fought the Slime Boss for yet another chance at a rare relic. And boy, oh boy, what an easy fight that was. I seriously do not know how the Slime Boss is supposed to be the same difficulty as the Hexaghost and Guardian. Like, sure, he adds slimed cards into your deck, but I've never drawn a slimed card and been like, wow, what a devastating gimmick. I only ended up taking 16 damage to pick up the next best thing after an energy relic Gambling Chip, which would let me keep my strikes in my deck without having them crowd up my starting hand. The shapes were up next, and... Okay, see. Slime Boss, come over here. Look at this. See, this is what you should be doing. See how the Exploder is going to be dealing 30 damage, and my hand is just, like, full of garbage? This is what you need to do. Just fill my hand with more garbage, alright, champ? You got this. Go get him. Okay, alright, sorry. Back to the run. The Exploder's going to be dealing 30 damage, and my hand is just full of garbage? This game sucks. Well, whatever. Not even the Exploder can keep me from digging up useless garbage. Oh, the blood vial. That's actually not useless at all. After leaving the campfire, I gave my artifact potion to some weird old lady. In exchange, she gave me... Oh, sick. A useless Doo-Voo doll. No. I love it. It's so nice. With half health, I decided I might take a break from digging and take a nap, which I promptly did at the next rest site. My Act 3 chest was the first chest to give me an actually useful relic, Magic Flower, which makes Reaper all that much better. Oh, and Blood Vial, too. And, I guess Bird-Faced Urn. Woo, Bird-Faced Urn. My fight against the Transient left me realizing that I might actually not be dealing as much damage as I thought I was after it took me from 73 to 41 HP. With so much damage being thrown around, I decided to pick up Shockwave to load the deck in my favor, both reducing incoming and increasing outgoing damage. Another rest site allowed me to dig up the Red Skull, pretty good relic, I guess. Strength is nice, but it's more for the multi-hit cards, of which I have 1. I guess I can't complain too much, as in my rematch against the Shapes, after chugging a Flex Potion, the Red Skull let Reaper heal 54 health, which the Shapes then proceeded to damage down to only 11 additional health. The final shop of the run allowed me to finally spend my oodles of cash on Lee's Waffle for more max HP and full heal, and a 5th perfect strike. Ooh, did I say final shop? I meant second to last. It's okay though, this one sucked anyways. I finally laid the shovel to rest after digging a final time and procured Paper Frog, which was super helpful with Bash and the newly added Shockwave in my deck. Time for the final boss of the run. Wait, dude, it's the Awakened one again? I hate this guy. How come 4 out of the 6 videos on my channel are against this idiot? I've literally never fought Donu and Deka, and they're my favorite Act 3 bosses. This sucks. Well, enough complaining. With only one power card in my deck, I wasn't too afraid of the Avian Beast. Knowing that the battle would take at least a few turns, I really wanted to get Demon Form active as fast as possible. After discarding literally my entire hand, there it was, and with my dual cast potion, I'd be gaining 4 strength every turn. Now that's what I call scaling. A Shockwave and a Whirlwind took the Awakened One's posse to half health, and then Reaper finished the job, healing me for 94! Good God, what a busted card! With Paper Frog, each perfect strike was dealing 60 plus damage. The battle turned into a race to the death. I was on half health by the time I got the Awakened One into Phase 2, meaning we were neck and neck. Reaper healed me for 36, and a massive Whirlwind took the boss to 100 HP. He unfortunately returned the favor, bringing me down to 7. With both my Reapers exhausted, there was no way I would be surviving the next hit. I needed to deal 100 damage before the Awakened One dealt 7. And I did, thanks to 2 perfect strikes at the perfect time. And everyone was saying my tier list was bad because I had perfect strike in S tier. I'll take your apologies on Venmo. Oh, and also shout out to this guy for the idea. Okay, bye.